Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio say they are the candidates who can take Trump on one-on-one. John Kasich is openly talking about the possibility of an open convention in Cleveland this summer. And Cleveland is where we find Msnbc's Jacob Soboroff. He is live for us this morning. So, Jacob, open convention, deadlock, and there are all sorts of names for this thing. What we know is it would be wild, it would be unpredictable, it would be something none of us have seen in our lifetimes. Tell us what the open convention's all about.
So funny, Steve, when you think of democracy in America, you think of putting a ballot into the ballot box. But as we saw at the Iowa caucus and other caucuses so far, and what we might see here in Cleveland, Ohio this summer is something entirely different. It might be backslapping, it might be handshaking that determines who this nominee is, it might just be general all-around schmoozing, and it's all going to go down right here at what people in Cleveland call the Q. 1,237. That is exactly how many delegates, a fancy name for representatives from each of the 50 states and U.S. territories, it would take for Donald J. Trump to become the Republican Party's presidential nominee at their convention right here in Cleveland this July. And with all of his primary and caucus wins across the country, he's closer than anybody else. But he's not there yet.
Do you know what candidate running for the Republican nomination is currently in the lead? Trump. What candidate is currently in the lead for the Republican nomination?
I don't want to say.
For the Republican nomination is currently in the lead? Trump. What candidate is currently in the lead for the Republican nomination?
I don't want to say. Trump.
I've asked many of my friends and a lot of people, and I'm shocked to say, but yes, Trump.
Despite record-breaking turnout and Trump's groundswell of popular support, the last two Republican presidential nominees, Mitt Romney and John McCain, and a bunch of other establishment members of the grand old party are trying to stop him in his tracks. They're speaking out against him, and even in Romney's case, suggesting voters pick whatever candidate has got the best shot at beating Trump in their home state. If efforts to stop him are successful, the result would be a so-called brokered convention where Trump wouldn't have enough support going into the convention to win the nomination outright, so delegates would be free to vote for whomever they want, and convention floor negotiations, instead of simple math, would determine the nominee. But it's not clear if this plan's going to work.
You got Mitt Romney and John McCain telling you don't vote for Trump. Do you care what they have to say?
No.
Not at all?
No.
What if they're watching right now?
I don't know. We're having a right stage.
John Kasich versus Donald Trump. Who's going to win?
Kasich.
You think he's going to win?
Yes.
Who are you going to vote for?
Hillary.
If Trump wins Ohio's 66 or Florida's 99 delegates in those winner-take-all contests, stopping him from having a clear majority of the delegates going into the convention and a solid case for walking away with the nomination gets a heck of a lot harder.
This summer in this arena in the Q, the Republicans are going to have their convention. Who are they going to nominate?
Donald Trump. Probably.
Donald Trump?
Yeah, it'll be Trump.
You going to sit courtside at the convention too?
If you can get me some tickets, I will.
All right, let's talk. Maybe I'll sit next to you for the rest of the game then.
That'd be fine by me. I don't know what that guy went.
You have yourself a deal, man.
Steve, the last time this happened on the Republican side, 1948, Thomas Dewey went up against Harry Truman. We know how that turned out. On the Democratic side, 1952, Adlai Stevenson emerged from a brokered convention. And the last president to emerge from a brokered convention was FDR in 1932. That's about all the American history that this little brain can remember. So back to you.
All right, Jacob, that's a great report, but I'm on to you. Getting the company to pay for your tickets to a Cavs game, that's a very ingenious strategy there. But great report. I appreciate that. Jacob Soboroff out there in Cleveland. That is good.